Well, they finally got it done. We got Jonathan Allen signed long term.
This is exactly what I've been waiting for.
And you already know it's a Street Sports video, so we're going to break down a lot of his advanced statistics and why he deserved all of the money that he got. And of course, we got to talk about the money, how much he's getting, how much it compares to other defensive linemen in the NFL. We're going to break all of that down and more. But first, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell next to the subscription button so you get a notification immediately and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Also, go check out the Jamin Davis film session I just came out with. I'm doing an entire series of rookie film sessions for our entire rookie class. So be on the lookout for that leading up to the regular season. And make sure you check out the rest of the channel because I even have a comedy playlist for all of my funny videos. So again, check out the rest of the channel. Be on the lookout for these rookie film sessions. Check out the one that's already out. Let's get it. It's a done deal, y'all. Defensive lineman Jonathan Allen and the Washington football team have agreed to a 4-year, $72 million extension with $30 million guaranteed. And I think this is a great deal. Jonathan Allen for $18 million a year is honestly a steal. We're going to look at his stats very soon. But even just beyond that, what he means to the culture of this team, what he means to the locker room as one of the all-time leaders. Some people may argue he was the most consistent defensive player on our team last year, even with all of this talent that we have with Chase Young, Montez Sweat, even his running mate Deron Payne, the occasional Matt Ioannidis, Cameron Curl emerging. You could honestly say Jonathan Allen was the most consistent player. Some people argue that he was the best player on the defense. And I kept looking at Leonard Williams' contract situation with the Giants, the long-term one he just signed, to see where I feel like Jonathan Allen should get a contract as far as what range his money should be in. And I feel like Jonathan Allen is honestly a better defensive lineman than Leonard Williams is. And we're going to look at the advanced statistics to prove it, not just looking at box score. And the fact that Jonathan Allen's getting $18 million a year while the Giants are paying Leonard Williams $21 million a year is already a steal in itself. Because again, I feel like Jonathan Allen is honestly the better player. But his $18 million per year ranks 5th most amongst interior defensive linemen in the NFL. And with us signing him now, by this time next year and this time the year after that, he's probably going to fall out of the top 10. Somebody resets the market every year. So this time in 2 years, he may be getting like top 12 money out of interior defensive linemen while he's one of the best ones in the league. This was smart to get this deal done now, especially since we avoid all of those stupid franchise tag situations we've been in, like with Brandon Scherff and before that Kirk Cousins. We need to get out of the loop of that. Because a lot of teams don't franchise tag players ever. We went from Kirk Cousins to Brandon Scherff. Back to back to back. And we almost ended up probably doing it with Jonathan Allen. But we secured the bag. It's done. And now to take a look at his surface stats. He has 202 tackles, 45 QB hits, 21 tackles for loss, 17 sacks over the past 4 seasons with 52 games played. And those stats are pretty nice. But when you look at the advanced statistics, that's when it gets really interesting. First of all, before we even get to the advanced statistics, Pro Football Focus gave him an 83.7 pass rush grade in 2020, which was 5th best amongst interior defensive linemen. So it sounds like his contract perfectly aligns with how Pro Football Focus feels how good he is at pass rushing. So that's interesting in itself. But then even beyond that, if we're just looking at on the Washington football team's defense last year alone, he was 1st in QB pressures with 50. He was 1st in QB hits with 13. And he was 1st in QB hurries with 34. Those statistics right there do back up the argument that he was the best defensive player on our team last year. Maybe not the most talented, but if we're just talking about production and not box score production, if we're talking about pressures, all of the advanced metrics and QB hurries, not exactly just sacks, you could argue he was the best defensive player on this team last year. So having him long term for the next 4 years is amazing. And speaking of long term, I mean, now we have Montez Sweat age 24. Deron Payne age 24, Jonathan Allen age 26, and Chase Young age 22 2022 is our starting defensive line of the future. Next up is Daron Payne, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. Staying with the advanced statistics, but we're going to look at it league-wide, his 17% pass rush win rate was 8th in the NFL amongst interior defensive linemen, and his 30 run stops was tied for second. So you can say he was the second best run-stopping defensive lineman last year in the NFL, and then you could also say he was at least top 8 best pass-rushing interior defensive lineman in the NFL last year. Since 2018, Jonathan Allen has had the most tackles out of all defensive tackles in the NFL. Second is Cameron Hayward, DeForest Buckner is third, Sheldon Richardson is fourth, and Grady Jarrett is fifth. It's also funny too because the NFL leaders in run stops amongst interior defensive linemen last year were Daron Payne number 1 and Jonathan Allen number 2. Out of the entire NFL, 1 and 2. That is crazy. But even more impressive, all of these stats that I just gave y'all, keep those in mind. Because all the while, among the 27 interior defensive linemen with at least 30 pressures last season, Jonathan Allen had the lowest percentage charted as unblocked or clean-up pressures. So he was out here putting up these top 8, top 5, top 2 stats in different advanced metrics, all the while having to work the hardest for it out of any defensive lineman last year. That is crazy. He wasn't necessarily the most double-team defensive lineman, but he was the least just left unblocked or able to get some cleanup pressures where somebody else pressures the quarterback and forces the quarterback into Jonathan Allen's way, which makes it easier for him to get it. No, he's had to get his pressures and all of his advanced stats out of the mud. But the thing I like the most about this is that we will be able to keep our starting D-line together for at least the next 2 seasons. Because Daron Payne's 5th-year option, which will cost us $8.5 to $9 million for that 1 year in 2022, was exercised. So we already picked it up. We're ready. Daron Payne is here for at least the next 2 years through 2022. And then after this season, the team will have to decide if we're going to pick up Montez Sweat's 5th-year option, and then it's Chase Young after that. But hopefully we can just sign all of them to long-term extensions. And honestly, I don't feel like it's an either or. Like, we've been debating all offseason really for like maybe over a year now. Like, who are we going to choose between Jonathan Allen and Daron Payne? I think, honestly, me just using logic, being objective, and not me just hoping this, but I feel like we honestly will. After the deal we just signed Jonathan Allen to, I feel like we will be able to keep both Daron Payne and Jonathan Allen moving forward into the future. I feel like it's going to be the year 2026, and we're going to have this same exact defensive line. I'm excited. And everybody's only getting better. Chase Young is going to get better. Montez Sweat is going to get better. Jonathan Allen, Daron Payne also still have room to grow, but they're definitely further ahead than Chase Young and Montez Sweat. But I'm really excited to see what the future of not only this team, not only this defense, but this defensive line specifically is going to do, terrorizing the NFL for the next few years to come. This is the best defensive line in football. And the thing I love about Jonathan Allen is that he's not one of those guys that's going to get his bag and then he's going to underperform because he's like, I got my money. I can be lazy now. I'm not on the last year of my contract. Technically, last year he wasn't on the last year of his contract because he had his 5th-year option. Technically, we didn't even have to pay him long-term right now, but we chose to get it out the way. So we can expect to get greatness out of Jonathan Allen even past him getting money. Because, I mean, just like with Dak Prescott, there may actually be more pressure on him to perform now that he got the big bag, because now we're going to be looking at him like, hey, we gave you the money. Let's get it. Time to show and prove. We need to start turning a lot of those advanced statistics and pressures and QB hurries and QB hits into actual sacks that you see on the box score. But we'll get there. I mean, it's hard to do that when you're trying to beat Chase Young, Matt Ioannidis, Daron Payne, and Montez Sweat to get into the quarterback, along with these really fast linebackers we have. They're going to be blitzing all of the time, and the safeties that are going to be blitzing as well. It's really hard to be the first one there, because if you look at the film, there are a lot of plays where not only just Jonathan Allen, but just everybody on our defense in general would have gotten a sack, but somebody else beat them there to it. And they're not even getting credited with a half a sack because the other guy got there that fast that play. But if Chase Young didn't exist some plays, you know how many more sacks Jonathan Allen would have had last year? And then he would have finally had those surface box score stats that everybody goes to. But I care more so about the advanced statistics and how much he wins as far as QB pressures and how he's the least left unblocked defensive lineman in the NFL with at least a certain amount of pressures. That's all I care about. So I'm really excited again. I'm really happy we got this deal done. That's one thing out of the way. It was the day before training camp. We start training camp tomorrow. I was a little worried. I was like, maybe this Jonathan Allen thing won't get done. All of these reports that they were getting closer, they feel like they can get it done before training camp. It was starting to look a little ugly. It was looking a little shady, but they got it done, and I'm excited. But that's the end of this video. Please get in the comment section. Let me know how you feel about this Jonathan Allen deal. Did we overpay? Did we underpay? How do you feel about all of the stats I gave you in this video? How do you feel about the future of this defensive line, the future of this defense, and the future of this team? And as always, man, please like this video if you liked it. If you learned anything, you had to have learned something with all of the advanced statistics I gave you. So you're legally binded to have to leave a like on this video before you get up out of here. And as always, man, I really appreciate all of the support, man. Big shouts out to everybody that donates to the channel. Big shouts out to all of my sponsors, especially my Pro Bowl sponsors, whose name you see scrolling on the screen right now. A special shouts out to my one All-Pro sponsor, Jaden. And again, make sure y'all check out the rest of the channel. Be on the lookout for all of these rookie film sessions I'm coming out with leading up to the regular season. The Jamin Davis one is already out. I think it like uploaded at like 3-4 a.m. this morning, so that may be why a lot of people haven't noticed it yet, but it's out and there's a lot more to come. Working on De'Ami Brown, Benjamin St. Juste, Samuel Cosme, and even undrafted free agent rookie running back Jared Patterson. So be on the lookout for all of that. I'll catch y'all later. I'm out. New setup on the way, man. Y'all gonna see, man, in about like a week or two. But everything's gonna be better. Mic and everything, man. So again, I appreciate all y'all donations, man. Be on the lookout for all of the new setup, man. It's about to be crazy.